let's get into our first story. Which is Call of Duty.
257.
So, anyway.
Oh, dude.
Call of Duty Black Ops 4 releases in just a couple more days.
Watch a damn anime. I watch a damn anime.
So, Call of Duty releases in a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
We're just a few days away. On everything, pretty much. We played the beta of the Battle Royale mode, which was pretty fun. There was obviously some absolutely game-breaking glitches during it, where I fell through the ground twice.
I don't remember that happening.
And then,
I didn't see anything
and then
like
the
that.
zombies that made me jump and scream like a little girl.
I love the zombies. I do. I hope there's more zombies.
They weren't that bad.
Um,
It
I
did
like the fact
catch
that
me
you
off
can kill
guard.
them for drops.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. And there was some distinctly texture things. They didn't texture completely yet.
Oh, yeah.
Because you run on Ultra and then you run into a house and there's like one wall or something that looks like it's like from the graphics of like 1995 and you're like, what happened there? So there are some textures they had to patch on the map and stuff. But I'm sure they are because we didn't see.
Call of Duty never looked good. It's just clean. Like their graphics are not great. They're just clean, so they look crisp to you.
Yeah.
I thought they looked great, but whatever.
So the other thing is obviously this is coming up. Most of us are getting this game. So we talked about the Battle Royale mode. We haven't talked really about multiplayer mode. And what I found out mostly is they're really like Black Ops 3 had hero. They tried to go hero mode, but it was like you get one Destiny kind of move, like, and that's it. It didn't really set you apart from the other characters really, besides one move.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually going to more of the hero shooter mode kind
Oh,
of
I
thing.
know what you mean. Yeah, it did have that because you
Had the
you
one
get, like,
Destiny
the
move.
super bazooka or something
Yeah,
like
it
that.
had one thing. And it really was just like one thing you use every once in a while. This is going full on hero. So your character you pick has distinct different abilities. Like there's a guy who can drop ammo for you. There's a guy that does healing. There's a guy that does grappling. There's a guy that can throw grenades. Not everybody can do all these things. So your hero class is like when you're playing Overwatch. And the maps themselves also are designed somewhat like Overwatch-esque style, which is really cool. It sets it up for Call of Duty and kind of like, instead of just the standard multiplayer, it gives you something a little different.
Yeah.
And instead of going to the hero mode halfway, which they did in Black Ops 3, which was okay, but most people just play it like a standard Call of Duty. There was no reason to choose a different kind of hero because you got one move every once in a while, so it was like, it doesn't really matter who you're playing with.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to actually play this kind of mode with like an Overwatch game with kind of real life textured graphics.
And they're also, what is it? There's like, what, about 14 maps coming out for it?
Yes, there's a lot of maps that start.
Which is good.
But it shows because obviously there's no one player mode in this game.
Nope.
There's some kind of strange like mission thing I guess you can do. It's not a one player mode, but it's like some kind of one player mission thing you can do, I guess. I was slightly reading about it. I didn't get all the details. But that's why instead of making all these other elaborate maps for one player to go through, they had time to really set these people up and go, hey, we need to just make some more maps. And obviously they said the zombie mode is what got the most attention, besides when they tried to dissolve one player mode. The mode that got the most attention was zombies. They said most of that team went to there.
I'm not gonna sit here and let you claim that they just went and made more maps and stuff. This game, I'm excited to play it, but let's be realistic. All they did was cut out the campaign mode, and they didn't add much to the game. It was just a way for them to save a lot of money, because that's what they do.
Well, Grim, both Call of Duties only come out with like about 6 maps when they start.
Well, some of these are repeat maps.
All of it's repeat. If you look at the the Battle Royale map, they took pieces of other maps and put it on the map.
Yeah, but they're not exact.
They're not exact.
No,
It's not. You see
exact,
like
but
a building
they
that's the same. That's it.
Yeah, because dude, that means they're reusing assets. So when they try to use the excuse of they needed to cancel the single player mode so that they could build up, so that they could make this other mode, you say no, you're using the same assets. You cut their budget and said make this mode. You're not making a single player mode anymore.
What's wrong
That's
with
all they
reusing
did.
assets though? If
All
you made
companies
them-
use
But that's
reuse
not
assets.
The point. The point is, there's nothing wrong with using it, but if you reuse assets and you say, hey, we had to stop, we're not making a single player mode this year because we needed to have people working on the other mode, and then you turn around and just reuse a bunch of assets, that says to me, no, you just didn't want to pay a few extra developers to work on both. You wanted to cut as many corners as possible because that's what Activision's been trying to do for years. They wanted to get rid of the single player for years, and this battle royal like phenomenon that's going on right now was the perfect excuse for them to get rid of that mode, save a bunch of money.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I mean, let's be realistic. If you look at PUBG, came out last year, right?
Yeah.
Within freaking 6 months of PUBG coming out, there were like 15 clones. And you're telling me Activision needed a ton of people, like an entire single-player development team to build this mode? That's bullshit.
Well, no, like I said, Grim,
They
the
had
actual...
like 15 people build
No,
this mode, and they
from-
used all the stuff they used before on it.
Well, no, like this video it's playing, there's an interview going on actually on this video with one of the developers.
I don't believe in anything they say, so you can play the interview all they want, but I'm not going to listen to the devs because every year they lie through their videos. Remember when they were like, dynamic fish AI?
I know, but I'm saying though, like they got asked like where the asset, like where the people went and stuff, and they said the mode that got the most developers was the zombie mode.
Yeah,
So
good for them. The most developers because they put like 3 people on the zombie. They put a bunch, like 10 extra people on the zombie mode, and they put 2 people in the basement and told them to build a PUBG mode. And then they claimed they couldn't afford to make a campaign. That's basically what they did.
yeah, but all reality, like I was telling Bazinga, I know Bazinga doesn't agree with it, but like they can look like any developer can pull the Steam stats for an entire player list and see what they played the most on a certain game.
That's fine. Just don't lie about it, dude.
And
That's
no,
all
I
I'm
know,
saying.
but they can look at the stats. Like for myself, I've played through Call of Duty. I've played through each Call of Duty Black Ops game once. That's it. I've never gone back through because nothing's going to change the outcome for me playing through that game a second time. It's one-time story. There's nothing different the second time around. I'm not going to gain anything different, really.
I just wish for one
And they're going to
thing
see that,
without-
and then they're going to see, okay, he played 3 hours or 4 hours on a one-player mode, but he played over 300 hours on multiplayer. They're going to look at that and see that what you're
Hey,
playing.
Stop. I don't want to hear you defend them. We all know what they're doing. You don't have to explain it like I'm a child. I know what they're doing. I'm saying I disagree with them being so goddamn greedy about how they do it. That's what I'm saying. I know why they're doing it, but they're not. But your reasoning is not technically why. They're not looking and going, well, people aren't playing it. They're looking and going, how can we save money? Oh, by cutting that because people aren't playing it. But their mindset.
Yeah, we don't need a writer anymore.
Yeah, but their mindset is cut corners because people are going to buy it anyway. And people like you are going to defend it by explaining what we already know. We just don't agree with because it's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, no,
They could have put 10 people on a PUBG mode because if you we played the mode. Everything in that game plays exactly the same as a regular gun mode. So that says they didn't need to hire anybody to work on physics. They didn't hire everybody to work on anything. All they did was sit down and go, we're going to send you the assets and all the physics engine and stuff. You just build this mode. And then we're going to tell people that we had to cut the single player to do it. Yeah. And you're going to go, Mike in the basement put that together in 6 months. And you tell me you had to cut out 100 people working on your campaign mode to do it? Like, where's Ben on this? I know Ben's mad about the single player.
Well,
You
yeah.
gotta agree with me on this.
I'm not getting the game.
That's what I'm just saying. You have to agree with me on this, that they cut it for bullshit reasons. Like, it can't be because they couldn't have...
I know,
have the
but
budget.
I'm saying it really doesn't, me personally, it doesn't offend me, and I really could care less if there was a one-player mode, me personally.
He still thinks it's worth $60.
So,
Dude, I don't disagree with you. I want to play the PUBG mode, so I'm picking it up. That's not what I'm saying to you. I'm saying it should have fed you that they lied about it. They should have just said, we decided to put more into zombies and make a multiplayer mode. Not like interviews where they talk about how they don't have like the team to do it. Because they don't have the budget to do it. They're freaking Activision. If they don't have the budget to do it...
They say that? They say they don't have the budget? Oh,
I don't know if
I
they
gotta
said
find
that.
this.
I don't know if they said that, but...
They said they cut that mode because they needed people to work on the PUBG mode.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to you, they could not possibly need those people to work on the PUBG mode. They could have hired 10 people to put that mode together.
No, you're probably right about that, Grim, in general. But I'm just saying the only thing
build it from the ground up.
The only thing I saw, I never saw them say that because of the PUBG mode. The only thing I saw was that they said they're not doing a one-player mode, and they show the statistics of why.
If that's what the truth they say, that they had to put the money into the PUBG mode, then my opinion was right months ago when I said they're putting all their money in development onto a mode that doesn't need to be there.
Well, no, they're not putting their money
Hold on.
into it. They don't need to. They're saving money.
What I said to you before wasn't that you were wrong. My argument was that they don't need to do that. Like, that's other games maybe. Like, you could make the argument that a game with a small studio is giving up their single player to make a PUBG mode, and I would agree with you. But this is Activision, a game, and this is Call of Duty, a game that makes 10 times its budget on its first freaking day, and you're going to tell me they just can't eat the cost to start up a PUBG mode and not screw their fans? Like, that's bullshit.
They could have done both. They could have done both.
Yeah.
I know. But
Listen, this game could blow out of the water like the day it releases. But right now, you can call it butthurt, you can call it hurt. I don't care what you call it. but at this point, I'm really disappointed in this game. I'm really mad because the whole point of Call of Duty to me wasn't for multiplayer. It wasn't for the PUBG. It wasn't for the zombies. It was because I was driven into the story, and I love a story-driven based game.
And great stories.
And its stories to me were always great when I played it. Now the fact there's no single player, there's no story, there's no point for me to get in this game at all.
And I can also tell you right now that chances are the amount of people who actually play it for the single player, like maybe 10%, probably covers its budget when they buy it. Like the 10 to 15% of people who buy that game so that they could play that mode probably cover the cost for that game to be made. So the
probably, yeah.
Is complete bullshit.
So complaining that they don't play the campaign doesn't matter because
I don't think they have a budget, but
campaign pays for it.
Yeah.
But either way, we'll be streaming this next week because it comes out on the 12th. So next Friday, we will be live with Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
And I'm only going to stream it for 2 hours because I have an entire night of watching Daredevil to get to.